Alright, so tomorrow, Amnat Ruenroeng was supposed to be defending his IBF Flyweight title against Johnriel Casimero in a rematch of a fight that they had last year. A very foul-filled fight, but one that Ruenroeng pretty much controlled all the way through, in spite of all the fouling. But it appears as though both Amnat Ruenroeng and Johnriel Casimero missed weight. They both did not make the 112-pound division limit. Amnat Ruenroeng weighed 116 pounds, and Johnriel Casimero weighed 113. So basically, based off of this, it's looking like Amnat Ruenroeng is essentially going to be stripped. And of course, Johnriel Casimero isn't eligible to win the title should he actually win this fight. So it's looking like this title is likely going to be vacated entirely, and the IBF is going to wind up having to hold a box off between the next two highly rated contenders, depending on exactly who decides to step up. Because one of the issues is one of those two next highly rated contenders is Nawapanpor Chokchai, who is also rated number 1 by the WBC, which is about to be vacated by Roman Chocolatito Gonzalez. So, I mean, depending on what Chokchai wants to do, he could either fight Juan Churritos Hernandez for the WBC flyweight title, or he could fight Vincent Legrand for the IBF title. Albeit, the thing about Vincent Legrand is he had his last fight, he weighed over 120 pounds. So in spite of the fact that he's still rated at flyweight, I'm not entirely sure if the guy can still make the weight. Because if you're weighing over 120 pounds for, even if it's just a stay busy fight, I mean, that's pretty high up there to be weighing in for, even a stay busy fight. Along with the fact that Vincent Legrand is a 5'8" flyweight, which is about as big of a flyweight as you could potentially imagine. I honestly can't really think of a guy other than Zlani Tete years ago when he was much younger, that was that height fighting at flyweight. So it's entirely possible we may wind up finding Nawapanpor Chokchai fighting against Zhou Shiming, who's the next rated guy, or Arden Diale, who's rated after him, or Daigo Higa, who I believe is fighting Diale coming up next. But in spite of all that, if Amnat Ruenroeng is still able to make super flyweight at least, he weighed 116, and if you're trying to get to 112 and you're only able to make it to 116, now at that point I'm unsure if you're even really able to make 115. So, should Amnat Ruenroeng wind up campaigning at super flyweight from here on out, he'd be an excellent addition to the division, considering the fact that Roman Gonzalez and Juan Francisco Estrada are both about to be moving up there. And, there's several other fighters who could potentially be moving up there as well. You never know if Brian Valoria may move up there, Mick Williams Arroyo. And then, the fact that there's several guys there already who are excellent fighters. Carlos Cuadras, Sisakitsu Rongvisai, Luis Concepcion, Koei Kono, Miguel Arroyo, Naoya Inoue, of course, Kal Yafai, for instance. But the way it's looking like right now is going to be real interesting to see who winds up actually competing for that newly vacant IBF title. Especially considering I know Zhou Shiming has a fight coming up on the card with Roman Martinez versus Vasyl Lomachenko. I'm wondering if Bob Arum would somehow be able to work his magic to get him a shot at that vacant title. I'm not sure if he'd be able to pull that one off, though. That'd be something. Considering I don't think his opponent is rated in the IBF top 15. Otherwise, Zhou Shiming's title shot opportunity, his next one anyway, would probably come for the WBO title, where he's rated number 2, and the number 1 rated fighter is Kwanpachit Wonsonchai-Jim, who's a fighter he's already defeated. And of course, Juan Francisco Estrada is a champion there, and he's likely going to be vacating his title sometime coming up. Although it's looking like there's a possibility he may defend both his WBO and Super WBA titles one final time at 112 before moving up to 115, considering the fact that Estrada's looking to make his U.S. debut later on this year. But however which way it goes, it's looking like there's going to be some interesting developments with some new blood at flyweight, assuming the roles as the champions. and then as well as some some more new blood at super flyweight. If Amnat Ruenroeng is still able to at least make 115, I'd imagine he probably could. But I mean, it's hard. It's tough to tell because I mean, even against Zhou Shiming, even though Shiming's not the most massive flyweight that I've ever seen, Ruenroeng looked, just physically, you could tell that he had a similar frame but way more muscle mass than Zhou did. When the two of them fight, he was pretty much able to just outmuscle him and outbox him most of the way through, whereas Zhou was normally able to kind of pot shot and speed and use his speed, height, and length to his advantage over most other opponents at the weight class. But that's pretty much it for this development. I'll try and do a post fight once I get my hands on the footage, or if I manage to catch a stream of Amnat Ruenroeng versus Johnriel Casimero. Should be a more interesting fight, I guess, because of the fact that it's taking place in China instead of Thailand. So there's a better chance of the ref intervening a bit more if Ruenroeng decides to get dirty the way he did against Casimero in their first fight. So it'll be an interesting fight, interesting development, however which way it goes. And that's it for this one. Peace.